Are you looking to make the move to Orlando and you're just trying to do it at the most budget friendly way possible? Well, in this video, I'm going to cover some of the top areas that you want to look at when it comes to being super affordable when making the move to Orlando. Let's go. What's up, everyone? My name is Cameron Hodge, a realtor here in Orlando, Florida. And on this channel, we talk about living, eating, just being in Orlando and making the move here. And we always have people reaching out day, nights, weekends, nonstop when it comes to moving to Orlando, and we absolutely love it. So give us a call, text, email, whatever you have to do when making the move. We have your back when making the move to Orlando. So in this video, I wanted to cover some of the top areas that you might want to look at when it comes to trying to stay within a tight budget. So if you're already coming from an area, or maybe like you were renting another state, or you're just like, hey, like I can barely get the money to move to Florida, and I totally understand. That was me when I made the move. I completely get it. So if that's you and you're like, hey, like I just need to get the cheapest house possible, but also in a decent area for my family or whichever, then in this I'm going to give you some of my top 5 neighborhoods from niche.com. So they usually give a pretty good overview of like different areas and statistics to kind of rank these like sub cities in the Orlando area, and I think it's a solid list. Now that being said, well, one, I might screw up some of these names as I say them. I'm still getting used to the names here. Like I came from New York, and we have like Cheektowaga and all like these like Iroquois names, right? And then I come here and I still screw up names every now and then, but what are you gonna do? So I'm gonna do my best to pronounce those properly. But also, if you're looking at this and you're like, hey, you're probably budget minded, where you're like, hey, I'm trying to be under a good budget. I get it. When we made the move here, like we had to make sure we had enough money just to even get our stuff here, let alone like be able to set up and establish ourselves. So it took time. We made sure we saved and before we made that jump out here. Now, I always say, obviously, safety is a big thing. And obviously, me being a family guy, that was something that was really important to us when we made that move. So when you're making the move out here, don't always look for the cheapest area. Because sometimes when you find the cheapest, it's like if you find like I want the cheapest area, like you might not find the safest area. Now, I will say that if you're looking to be able to be farther out into the county that Orlando is, or farther into the country, then yes, you can find cheaper homes, but still kind of be like, not like out in the boons, but you're gonna be out there like with a little bit of separation. So something to take note of. And most of these cities they're pretty average overall. I can definitely say the downfall is you are going to be a lot farther from Disney World because of the way you have to get there. And when you show the maps in each one of these, like you'll see what I'm talking about with how like they're all tucked into that top northwest area of Orlando. So you kind of understand why it's a little bit tucked away, which makes the price go down, but at the same time it makes you farther away if you're trying to get to certain amenities. But if you're looking to if you look actually the top videos for raising a family, it's most of those cities were in the north part of Orlando, and that's a great video to watch because a lot of them have like roughly the same home prices as these areas, a little bit higher. I'd say the overall average is a little bit higher in that video, but it's worth taking a look at because you might not have to go this distance. And also the schools are a little bit more average that I've noticed, and that's just something obviously being having when we moved here, having a son that was going into kindergarten, that was like first thing on our mind is like, look, we can't just live somewhere for 2 years and then have time to maybe move locations to a better school and what for. So without that, let's get into the list. Number 5 on that list is Silver Lake. So this is right off Highway 441, and it's kind of tucked away in there. So like at the time of doing this video, like the average sale price, like you'll find is about $314,000, give or take. It doesn't mean that's right in, but that's like right in the middle where homes been trending. And the average income is going to be about $60,000-$70,000 a year for a household. I have heard, so like this isn't obviously my top area to live in, but there have been, I have heard there can be like a little bit of a crime rate in the area. It's give or take. If you live in Silver Lake and you're watching this, like leave in the comments below how you feel if it is living there. But it's the home prices have started to increase because you will see some new construction I've noticed in these areas in general with all of this list. But this one, it's an average schools. It's a B average schools on the rating. Home prices have been pushing up like everywhere, right? Like I'm sure you're used to hearing that if you're watching this in beginning of 2022, but it's overall, it's not a bad feeling city. Like, I don't mind these areas. Like, they're a little bit tucked away, they're a little bit farther from Disney World and things like that, you know, but the path of progress is heading here, and in time I think it will slowly get better. And I think a lot of like the old connotations with this area in terms of like being higher crime, because you start getting closer to like Polk County and all that, but I think that's going to start going away as time goes on. But in this list, that is number 5 based on the, you know, there's really not much to do there either. So the nightlife, it's a C. They rated a C. There's really not much there. I mean, I grew up in the country. I'm okay with that. Like, we always found something to do. But if you're like really big into the city life, this probably wouldn't be a good fit for you. Number 4 is Umatilla. So this is northeast of Silver Lake, and you will see like in this one, like at the time of this video, like the home prices, the reason this is higher than Silver Lake is the average home price is only, you know, they're about trending about $244,000, $245,000. So as it hits that cheaper price point, you are a little bit more out there because you're not on the 441, like you're pushing out there. The one thing I mean, it's cheaper home prices. The crime is like a B plus, so like it gets out because you're getting out there, so I feel like the less population kind of plays into that. But one thing I don't like about it, at least being as a family person, is the schools are just rated a C. And you know, I mean, I've been in school districts as well growing up, and when you hit the country cities, like a lot of times it will drop, but I still had a great time. I mean, I still consider I'm like really blessed to still have great schools, so it doesn't mean that's like the said and done. But the schools are just rated a little bit lower. You are a little bit more out there in terms of like, you know, the distance between the city and all that. It mainly because it's just, I don't know, to me it just feels like it's harder to get to places from there. But it's still a decent area. I'm not against it. You know, it's okay for families. Again, just like Silver Lake, there just isn't much to do in terms of like nightlife. You know, it's not like it's like you're in downtown Orlando or even St. Cloud, where like you're right off the area and ready to go there. But it is a valid option for those that are coming at a lower budget. They're like, hey, I have to be under 300,000. Like, we have people reach out to us all the time, and they're just in that situation. I totally get it. Sometimes it costs so much money just to get to the state. You know, you just need a place to get a, you know, it's good for your family, it's safe, and you just need a solid foot in the ground. So this could be a good option for you. You know, let me know in the comments below if you think this could be a good fit. All right, number 3, and that is, and I'm going to try and pronounce this. This is Astatula. I hope I pronounced that right. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get hate comments below. I did my best here. But so this one, you know, it's higher on the list. Average sales price is going to be about $289,000 at the time of this video. You know, and overall, compared to the previous 2, this one is the most overall, just like a B plus. The schools, the crime. You know, I do like the area, but it is on the other side of Lake Apopka. You know, I wouldn't call like any major highways. Like, it's still not too hard to get to places. A lot of major roads and highways to get you back to the city. You know, it's actually like you know, heading further on this list, you'll see the next 2, which I think might be a better fit in terms of location. But, you know, it's not a bad area. It's overall, it's general, it's a B plus. I completely agree with this rating. If you don't agree, leave a comment below. But it's just, you know, it's overall a decent area. It's still like under 300,000 for, so if you're coming here on a budget, it could be a great place to start. You know, like, it's just, to me, it's a good area, and it's just completely average, which to me it's great. It's a great place to start. Schools are average, crime's not too bad. Actually though, one of the things that do stand out though, and this is something that's really important to you, is compared to the first 2 on the list, this is the most diverse city compared to those first 2. The other ones were maybe about C, a B, and if diversity is really a big thing to you, you know, I know my wife's Hispanic. Some people are really big. They want that diversity. They want the different, you know, ideals, and I totally understand that. And this so far has the highest rating out of anything on the list so far. Number 2 is Yalaha. So this one is west of Astatula, and I do these lists based off niche.com, so they do a good overall like statistic base of these lists. But there are times where I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand why this is higher than the previous. And honestly, in this one, I think they just went off the average sale price, which is like $220,000 at the time of this video, and I think that's all they got, because overall the schools are worse, the diversity is lower, it's just the crime it's okay, you know, in terms of ratings and stuff like that. Like, Astatula is, like, to me, should have been number 2 at a minimum on this list. For some reason, this one, I think it's just a sale price that it hit number 2. But, you know, it's more west. It's a little bit more tucked away. And if you're really looking for that lower price, you know, it could be a viable option. But I think this is a good thing to be number 2, because it gives you a good idea to where, like, even though you look at these lists, if you're not physically here, or you're unable to, or you don't really know the area, you really have to be careful. I mean, when we first came here, like, there are areas we looked at and we were like, oh wow, this is gonna be a great area, and we drive there and then like, holy cow. And we were like, nope, like, there are mobile homes with holes falling in, and like, you got grandma smoking a crack pipe in the porch. It's just, you know, like, it's just the culture here. Like, I've lived in the South before, and even like where I grew up north, like, you know, like in New York, in the country, you got meth labs. So, you know, it's just if you don't know the area, you gotta be careful. Like, look at this list. Like, the last place, like, I think it's a great area, but then this one pops up as number 2, and you're like, oh, this is great. I want to buy here. I want to move here. Gotta be careful. That's why we are here, and we love doing what we do, because most of us, like our team, we understand. When we moved here, we had no idea, no one there to help us, and like, we just love absolutely helping you on your journey and making the move out here, because we all have a story of why we came here, and that's important, along with making sure that you and your families are taken care of when you make that move. All right, and the number 1 city, if you're coming in on a low budget to Orlando, is Zellwood. So out of all the cities or the little towns on this list, this is the closest to the Orlando metro, and it's like just about northwest of Apopka. It's pretty much on border when you look at the city borders. So this is one of the more interesting ones on the list, so you got to be careful. So this one, I do love the area. Overall, the ratings are high, and it's a safe area. Like, housing gets a good plus. But you gotta be careful, because like, you look at like the average sales price at the time of this, you're like, oh, it's $140,000. Yeah, well, it's because there's a lot of land that people are selling in Zellwood, because obviously, you know, with needing more new construction and all that, people are selling land like crazy, and that pushes the sale price down, because the land doesn't sell as much as a house. To be fully honest with you, like, you'd expect probably to spend between you could even go up to 400,000, you know, in this area. Mainly 400 gets pushed to the new construction in the area. I think it's a great community. I think it's definitely the path of progress, especially as people push farther out with the construction. That's why they rank it so high, you know, looking into the company. It's because it is in the path of progress. That's why they rate it higher. They rate it also the number 2 best place to buy a home in Orlando, and I get why. It's because the path of progress is heading that way. The schools are, you know, they're B+. Crime has a decent rating. It's not too bad. I like the area. I think it's great. But again, like, you're not going to get like the super cheap housing like the other places, even though it looks like that on the surface. But it's a great area. I think it's definitely one of the top places to look at if you're looking to push a little bit out, at least to start. And then you could always look to one of the other areas if you look for that slightly lower house price. But that's the entire top 5 areas that I would look at if I was coming in with a low budget. But look, if you're coming in with a low budget, like, it's never an easy thing to do. I know we were trying to keep our budget lower when we came out here, but safety and schools really plays a big part into it. And cheapest price does not always mean the best. It's unfortunate. It's probably not what you hear. But if you watch this much of the video, like, and then we're talking to you. I'm talking to you. Like, I understand it. I've been there. I've done that. But like, it's really important that if lowest budget is the biggest thing on your mind, you reach out to us, and we can help you create a plan to make sure you're making, you know, within your budget. We're also making that smart move to try and keep everything below. And even if maybe we can even help you with tips to trying to save some money getting out here with mistakes that we made and things that you could do differently. So let me know in the comments below if you disagree with any of these cities, or maybe you have another one that wasn't on this list that you think is a good area. But if you are making the move to Orlando and you're on the fence, you know, we are here for you. Call, text, email, whatever you have to do. We are here to help you make this move. We know it's not easy. It's a tough one, but we are happy to help you and be there for you in that move. So without that, I will see you in the next video.